Welcome back to the Wilderness Podcast. Yeah, here we are back. We are in the house and we are here, of course, with Nova D and Jeep. Yes, indeed. Yeah, she had to get her appearance on the show because international night. But due to the fact that we did not have international night, she was on the show with Daddy. So tell everybody how y'all doing. You and Jeepy Poo, Jeepy boy, yeah, yeah. She is the only person that can hold him like a baby. Watch this. He'll flip right over. He flips right over. Now watch this. Long as she holds him, he'll go right back to form. He'll go right back. Long as she got him. That is just that's a poodle for you. You know, they're smart. They're smart. He's so handsome though. This my little boy. He's so awesome. Don't y'all love Jeep? We love Jeep. That's our little boy. That's our little boy. Gotta call him back. I'm doing the show. Anyway, yeah, this is the Wilderness Podcast. How you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? I just had to give you a good intro, and we wanted to show you, how we be having fun. Look at this. 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 Oh, look at this. Y'all go on or y'all gonna stay on? Okay. Yeah, she just be walking. All right, all right. But anyway, we're gonna get to some good lessons tonight. Yeah, yeah. I got my daughter with me. Yeah, we're gonna have a good show. She's funny because we teach us. She's learning about Western civilization right now. So I said we're gonna go collegiate level tonight. Yeah. So what we're discussing is, like I was trying to explain to you on the last show, if she don't distract me so much. Oh, the code of the Hammurabi. Yeah, yeah. The growth of the empires in the ancient, they say the ancient Near East. Ain't that just? It's so wrong, to call cultures something that they're not. Even when the instructions of Pathal Hotep, look at this. This is what they're telling you. This is Western civilization. Why do they have these? Why do they have this in their civilization if they didn't spawn from blacks? Yeah, from the blacks. I'm telling you what the West. This is Western civilization, and look at what they tell you who they spawned from. This is not the Greek culture, ladies and gentlemen. Not at all the Greek culture. This is an African culture in the East, and they call it the Near East because it's closer to them. So they thought they was associated with this, and they were not associated with this at all because those people came from Nubia. So if you look at even the Sumerians, and they were telling you right in front of your face, hiding things in plain sight, telling that dark skinned or black Aboriginal people were not associated with these people. They colonized history. And this is why I give you the real, even when you are admitted to understanding who the Sumerian words, the Sumerians were, the which we call the Anunnaki, they would take it out of context, and that's where you get the good works of Graham Hancock and the good works of David Icke and the good works of Zacharias Stitchens. You see, these these scholars really took time and effort to make sure you understood humanity is not a new thing, it's a very old thing, and some of us still wear that badge of the old, not the pale new. So that's no critical in no kind of way of me trying to diminish any part of the human race. I love the human race. Hell, I love our dog. Oh boy, I love you so much. Don't you do that? No, we don't do that. But anyway, so I just try to educate, you know, I don't try to diminish any form of people's progress and how they, choose to live their life. And there are a great deal of wonderful, intelligent people that grace this planet today. But I'm just allowing you to understand that it's the likes of your predecessors, the people that you get this knowledge and this information from. So it's nothing to snide about you. I just wish that even people that look like me were even more interested in what their ancestors did. These great, beautiful things, instead of saying it, get to know it, get to understand it, you know, get to know you. That's what the Wilderness Podcast is really all about. Us getting to know ourselves and just moving forward from there. That's how we want to move forward. That's how we want to, keep on building. So when I show you these type of things, it's not to separate us, it's to show us how much we are and have similarities and likenesses and within this fabric of civilization, because we have to be civilized. So everybody wants to pretend like they want war, but I don't want war. What I got this little beautiful face right here. I don't want war. I want peace, so that she can live in a world of peace and have choices beyond measure, especially with this gorgeous, most powerful brain of hers. Third grade, been on honor roll from kindergarten right now, huh? Yep. That's how that go. That's hard work, dedication, and duty to who? Me. That's right. See, helping our beautiful children understand the power of self right now, that's what I take my hat off to. That's what I this is who, you know, this is what life is about. Renewing yourself into yourself again and putting everything that you couldn't do into self so that self can be more powerful what self tells self what to do. This brain is powerful. It functions on its own. We just keep it aligned. You understand? That's how we do it, right? Yeah. Oh, it's no comments on this because the comments on the other side. This is not. Yeah, there's 99. Yeah. That's caption sugar, baby. But it's okay. We do this for to educate the show. The people that want to watch the show, they can watch it, and that's free real, right? On my tablet. I'm gonna watch the show and look at the comments on my tablet. If you're able to, it's not your age. Hmm. Ask mommy. Chico. Ask mommy to watch it on her phone. That's all you got to do. I'm not gonna let me or Abel watch the comments anyways. Mhm. Mm. Why you looking so mad? What is the comment? Oh, get up. Oh, no, we're not doing that. All right. Look, education time. Okay. Go, have fun. Go get Boy, I'm going to eat pizza. I'm sure you are. Toodles, beautiful. Bye. Love you. That's my child. But anyway, let's get down to some business. Yeah, let's get to it. Anyway, she just likes to be on the show. She wants to. She thinks that this is a, what she wants is to be, and that's fine. She's gonna see what she want to do with her own platform and how we build it and construct it and make it successful. But right now we got to be constructed in how we build and live ourselves today and how we construct ourselves now. Because Western civilization, the true origins, I just shared you. There's one book I'm gonna share, and I showed you this book the other night. Y'all go ahead and check the other show. You see this book, and I told you about this show. I'm gonna start posting these books and showing you where to get this information from because you need to get it from Root. The book, read it. Shit, yeah, that's what we're here for. We're here to educate people and to show them about. I also shared the other night some inscriptions of this book, Black Spark, White Fire. These are the origins of Western civilization to show you how, you didn't even build your own culture at all. And I also promised you this one thing right here. Oh, yes, the Japanese. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. the Japanese Gerald Horn, race war, white supremacy, and the Japanese attack on the British Empire. Let me read you an inscription out of here. Race reverse, gender transform. The British authorities were concerned with the presumed enemy within the gates of U.S. territory. Weeks in Hong Kong, surrendered just in Singapore, was about to do so of a foreign office, breached the United States on lessons and drawn from the take of Pearl Harbor. For some days before the assault on U.S. territory, the Japanese girls had been making dates with sailors. And that Saturday night, most of them saw the sailors were filled up with liquor. And what was remarkable is apparently unusual for the Japanese girls to mix with the sailors. Also, Japanese restaurant keepers near Pearl Harbor gave drinks to the house on Friday. And the Japanese quit their jobs and did not turn up on Saturday morning. During the bombing, the attempts were made to obstruct military traffic by such means as drawing lorries across the road and Japanese truck drivers. Man, my God, oh boy, I tell you, this out right here. Japanese truck drivers. Let me get back to it. Some of the local Japanese expecting an uprising in the seas of Hawaii by force. The Japanese restaurant keeper who owned the restaurant closed Pearl Harbor appeared in the heights and attacking, dressed in uniform, a Japanese officer. He was promptly shot. And song it suggested that London ominously that many of the Japanese aviators and Hawaiian born Japanese, some that crashed, had McKinley High School rings and Oregon State rings, expressing astonishment and bewilderment in hybrid Asian American communities that had arisen in race obsessed United States. Lengthy reported continuous that in Hawaii, Oriental cooperate, and there is none of the Sino Japanese amnesty which exited in Asia. The Japanese and the most pushing, active, and well organized run the Chinese. These overheated asserted were not only suggested in the tempers and times, but also foreshadowed in internment in Japanese Americans in the Western United States through telling, not in Hawaii itself, and the anti Nippon attack quickly gained currently in Western Canada, principally in British Columbia, and clearly the message emerged in the cabinet. Lower levels are contrived and convened in Ottawa, January 1942, and the citizens in Japan. Ancestry should be used and leveraged to impose conditions of Britons in Hong Kong. They were earnest concerns in the hands, and if the mistreated Japanese Canadians and Japanese were retaliated against the interns in occupied territories. So I'm trying to tell you, uh, there was some firepower going on. Let me take a little break real quick. I gotta take a piss real quick. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Let me play some music real quick for you guys. But I just gotta take a piss. I'll be right back. Leave you with something nice, something that you want to listen to. So it's be cool, all right? Just chill out. Something else. Yeah, I'll be right back. Give me a second. All right. What's that? I'm back. All right. Yeah, we back. We here. Just had to read you a little Gerald Horn. You know what I'm saying? Something that you can understand because there are a lot of things going on in this country that a lot of people are just not aware of. But if you want to know more about this book, or what I read, Race War, Gerald Horn, check this out. It has some superior stories, very good stories about Australia and the good reason the monitor relationships in the most secret report of 1942 noted that there had been 10 years of Japanese penetration of the Dutch East Indies. Boy, I'm telling you, the Japanese they were something else. They were learning. They were on a global conquest to build that nation. So I'm telling you, check this book out. It's a hell of a tool. It's something nice to read too. I also promise you some West African affairs stories that I'm going to read to you right now, and how you understand. There's they knew us and we knew them too, very much so. The Hausas in the empire. Oh Lord, do we know? Hold on, wait. Yeah. We know that too. The affairs of West Africa, though, boy, I tell you, they ferocious with a lot of vicious things. It's a lot of things that you just don't understand. The principal products of Nigeria, and how the exporting and the exploitation and exporting, and the 5-year relationship with British trade in West Africa. Okay, you understand that? Ooh, yeah, it was pretty deep. The old and the new. All right, yeah, it was a whole lot of deep stuff going on in these uh, deeply embedded colonial times. Let me turn my music down a little bit. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Y'all can hear me. Let me read y'all some numbers real quick so you can understand how these relationships used to transpire. Oh boy, here we go. Oh no, you know what? Yeah, I'm here now. Yeah, I'm here now. Everything else is old news. I might as well let you know. But I think I want to start off with yeah. Oh, no. Here we go. You need to know how it started. One still, but too often, at last meets the people who wandered by England should bother the West African and all and poo the idea that there had interest in the presence of time worth looking out the while. As for a future possibilities in a huge country in the field of British enterprise, they simply would not trouble themselves to give the matter a moment of consideration. Now figures in very interesting things. No doubt in the average reader, but to possess practical, significant, superior to any number of those most glowing dissertations. And I just my readers must forgive me, for I make as a bias or justification for inflicting the volume upon them a few sets of figures which I wonder respectfully suggested a worthy of the attention consideration. The statistics had compiled from the custom house return and that showed the existent nature of the of distribution of British trade in West Africans during the last few years, who's persuading them three factors should be borne in mind. First, although the Europeans have been engaging in commercial transactions on the West African coast in upwards of 550 years, those transactions were prior to the abolition of the overseas slave trade, confining with a very few exertions as far as the export of West African concerning the human cargo and the gold, dust, and ivory. Then the trade of palm oil and kernels, which are now the staple articles of export from West Africa, and therefore a commemoratively recent growth that the mahogany trade, that the rubber trade had often come into existence into appreciable extent within the last few years, a fair indication of the fertile in productivity and power and almost boundless resources in West Africa. Secondly, the extensive business relationship which had built between Great Britain and West Africa has shaped the legitimate commerce to grow in a persistent proportion in the circumstances of uh, absolutely disadvantages to development without railways but few roads uh-huh, to enter tribal wars, often preventing the circulation of trade for months at a time, but merely scratching the surface of the most prolific region in the world. Thirdly, the figures gives below that do show that the actual volume of Britain trade in West Africa and wages earned in thousands of English men and women who directly, indirectly benefited from by the trade. The British captains invested in West Africa for factories, machinery, craft, and navigation, rivers, and coaling deposits, surfboards, and lighters, shores, and like in which now in added railway materials, dredging apartments, batteries, and soon we most hope that cotton gins and mentioned fleets and some of 60 steamers employed carrying trade and passengers traffic and all things have been taken in account in estimating West Africa's worth in Great Britain, the total value in British products and manufacturers and ships in the British possessions in West Africa in the 5 years of 1896 to 1900 were respectively follows among the principles, expectations, and mentions in gum, Arabic forms, Senegal, pepper, spices, etc. from Guinea Coast and the totals and given do not, of course, include foreign and colonial merchant ships in British West African and British ports. See, 5 years of British trade was it was some the percentages you can see them right here. Check it out. Hold on. Where you at? There we go. See it for yourself. Take a screenshot of it if you must. Again, this is the affairs of West Africa that had existed long before a trade, that fake trade, slave trade thing they be talking about when they already had these type of relationships. When I tell you Gambia, Sierra Leone, the Gold Coast, Lagos, Nigeria, Cape Protectorate of the 1900s, Nigeria. So these are also, let me explain these numbers to you. The percentages in 5 years of 17.5% in the British value and products of manufacturers, ships, possesses of foreign powers in West Africa in the 5 years, 18, like I told you. Yeah, these are all the actual specific numbers. So this book is actually a real hell of a, and they'll show you the actual in the Hassas in that empire and how they, in the Fulanis, as well as the Hassas in training. So when I tell you I know who these people are, these are not Americans. These are West Africans, and these are their affairs. Understand? So when you were able to tell lies and they knew how deep it went, that's how you got a lot of the lies about the Americas and the whole world because of the affairs. And this is why you don't know about certain things like with Roger G. Kennedy when I was expressing that I was going to bring up the other night was the hidden histories. See, you want to they put so much of attention into Africa because that's the European conquest in their mindset, but America is what they try to erase and diminish the hidden cities, the discovery, the discovery, lost in ancient North American civilizations by Roger T. Kennedy. See, I got a couple of markings in this book too, but I want to give you this one right here. For real. About Lewis and Clark. Hold on. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson, imperial ambition might have played itself out in 1793 when a scientific filibuster led George Rogers Clark and Andrew Missionks at the expense of Spain. Hold on. Damn, that went out. All right. Hold on now. Gotta make that the right call. Right. Right. Here we go. Get that off of there. All right. Here we go. Let me finish. Let me get this. Yeah, Lewis and Clark, Hidden Cities. Right. Check this out. Scientific filibuster. Let me start over. Thomas Jefferson's imperial ambition might have played itself out in 1793 with the scientific filibuster led by George Rogers Clark and Andrew Mission at the expense of Spain. Because of the intervention of Wayne in Washington, he had to wait for a debate for a decade to send Clark's younger brother, William and Meriwether Lewis, on his next scientific assault upon the Dons. The boldness might say effortary of Lewis, Clark, and Jefferson often underrated in our school books when the two explorers, provocateurs, set forth down the Ohio towards St. Louis and they had yet seen Louisiana Purchase. The negotiation was completed and they were underway, and even in the government of Spain took a view of the boundary and the purchase and laid considerably at the north in the line imaginary Jefferson map in Galatine by Galatine and to be explored by Lewis and Clark. Spanish position was therefore that Mr. Jefferson explorers trespassed upon Spanish territory every time they walked the mud flaps and hunted deer and antelope through the willows in the south bank of Missouri. According to the Spanish authorities, set an Indian detachment drudge go to the Americas. The detachment expedition passed each other by. Things might have been unpleasant in Lewis and Clark and the Spanish explorers. Indians have caught them by a vastness of plains. One tributary is difficult to distinguish from another. Rivers and hidden flows and gently swellows and prairies. One straggling cottonwoods and marks these courses. Jefferson and his expeditions went underway by the end of 1806, and attaching troops and scientists had proven the Spanish defense, and each professor in scientific and archaeology purpose and signed Lewis and Clark. Geographically, however, their function was to extend the sway of nations. Jefferson, who found it uneasy to alliance which he made into imperial power. On the way westward, Lewis and Clark were collectively natural history to report Indians on their monuments. On January 9, 1804, after the snowy night and the hard wind, Clark had found himself amidst north group of mounds and American bottom not far, and those his brother explorers in Cahokia. He had been gone for some prairies, chickens and ducks and dinner, but after breaking through the ice and partly frozen slough, he discovered Indian fortification, 9 mounds forming in circles. There were still archaeological evidence apparently to be found on the surface. Great quantities of earthen ward and flints about a mile and a half and a mile north is a grave of an immense, and returning before sunset and found that my feet were wet and frozen in my shoes. The wind of the west across the sand island raised against the dust, and I could not see in the direction, and I had been an exceedingly cold day. In the papers of Lewis and Clark, there were many references to Indian villages, active and abandoned, but of the passage quoted above did not describe monuments compared to those of Cahokia along the floodplains in the upper Missouri, and did across walks of sands and earth, which they brought a might of earthly fortifications, but which tiresome subsequently investigators had reduced to natural sandbars and split deposits. The explorers were, however, able to investigate many individual burial mounds, and Clark reached the point where he was within the borders of the present state of Nebraska in July 12, 1804, and went out to seek the game, and where he was much fatigued. Men took a a day off after ascending a high uh, artificial, artifactual knob. He had to extend and please and prosper across the plains of 15 to 20,000 acres of high bottom and low crawling of grass, 4.5 feet high upon a blooming prairie. Spark saw many mounds and ancient graves, which is to me strong evidence of this country having been thickly settled. As I said before, and I say it again, this is the old world, my people. This is the old world. Oh, yeah. Most definitely, this is the old world. If you ever want to check this book out, this is Prairie for Hidden Cities. Hidden Cities, the discovery of lost and ancient North American civilizations, Robert Kennedy. The world of the first Americas was richer, greater, more wondrous by far than most of us have ever imagined or in most histories have ever implied. The reader will more thorough than, energetically provocative survey of Roger. Yeah, he's wonderful. And this is by David McCullough. So he talks about the earlier history, obscurantism in America, thus the ignorance ground of prejudice and the devoted obscuring thrust. Dude, it's heinous work. And now, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna give you more of this book, man. I told you I would give you some of it. I told you I would read you some the affairs of West Africa and their misdeeds, and also the heinous misdeeds of covering up the old world, and also spreading different, lies and tales as if this was an abandoned land, which it was not, because I am the progenitor of this land. So thank you. I appreciate you for tuning in to the Wilderness Podcast tonight. We got more for you, but tonight it's Friday night. I want y'all to go out and have a good time. I'll do a TikTok a little later, but I just want to let you know that's the show tonight. But I also understand that, check it out, the wheel is yours. Just like I can get on here and know more about myself, I need you to do the same thing with knowing more about who you are, where you come from, because I love you. I appreciate you. I'm not against you. I am not a hater with no nationality, race, nation, creed. I don't even do race. I do people. We great. Let's just get together and understand how we can move us forward and not take us backwards. I salute you. I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you for doing this Willis Podcast. Please share, love, like, and subscribe. Thank you, my people. And thank you for tuning in. I might hop on later.